Hello students, in the previous lecture we reached the point where the people of the third estate, being unsatisfied with the decision of the estates general, walked out in anger out of the assembly hall and were angry with the situation. Now, the people, yes, they did move out of discontent with the decision of the estates general, and they at the same time use that anger later on to produce a fruitful result. The result came out in the form of tennis court oath, which was taken on 20th June, that is around a month later of the incident when the people walked out. On this date, the people of the third estate assembled in a tennis court which was an indoor big hall. Now a question here rises up, why the tennis court only? The answer is simple, because it was a very big open place where they could all assemble. There wasn't any big deal with that. So they assembled in this tennis court and they took an oath that they are going to draft a constitution which will give people more power in their hands, and they declared themselves as a national assembly. The leading of this whole movement was done by the pioneers like Mirabeau and Abbassius, who were people who were not convinced with the social framework and wanted the people to rise up and fight for their rights. In the picture given, we can see how the people are excited and are in dire need of being heard, of holding power in their own hands and having a right to live the life the way they want. When all these activities were going around, the people getting themselves busy in framing the constitution, drafting the constitution, there were a lot of things going around in the meanwhile. The life was getting worse for the people. At this time, the state was struck by a very severe winter, and this sudden change in the climate affected the agriculture of the state, leading into a bad agricultural year, a bad harvest, which as a cumulative effect affected the market prices. Basically, the prices of the agricultural goods rose, and this increased the pressure over the people of the third estate. They were already in no condition of having an income slightly more than their subsistence level, and with this disaster that struck them, the condition even worsened. This was the mayhem running in the state, and like always, the nobility, the nobility, sorry, the nobility was completely out of concern. They were living a very lavish life. They were not bothered what the prices were or how the people were surviving in these bad conditions. The luxury of the first and the second estate did not decrease a bit. These conditions rose the anger in the people that the monarch is not bothered, is not concerned about our bad condition. So, to show their anger, to tell the royalty that this is not going to happen anymore, the people on 14th July stormed into the castle of Bastille and destroyed it completely. They were in the hope that they will find some arms and ammunitions in there, but it was a jail where they could only find some prisoners. They released them and in this way made the royalty realize that the common people are very agitated. Similar conditions also occurred in the countryside of the state, that rumors of attack by the king spread in those zones, and this resulted into a revolt from the common people. Everywhere around, the king could see that the people were not satisfied and they were not going to bow down to him anymore. So, realizing his weak condition, Louis XVI surrendered to the revolting subjects and also accepted that from now on his powers will be kept in under the check of the constitution, which was drafted by the Constituent Assembly. On 4th August 1789, the Assembly passed a decree of abolishing the feudal system of obligations and taxes, and with the establishment of the constitution, France becomes a constitutional monarchy. The National Assembly completed the drafting of the constitution in the year 1791. According to this constitution that was declared in the year 1791, the National Assembly held the powers of making laws in its own hands. The members of the National Assembly, as we can see in this diagram above, that the members will be indirectly elected. Amongst those who will elect members of the National Assembly will be divided into two types of citizens, active and passive citizens. The passive citizens had no rights of voting, which included people who were not earning accordingly high, the people who were below the age of 25, women and children. Amongst those who could vote were the active citizens who were the taxpayers and active members above the age of 25 and males only. So, these active citizens voted to elect the National Assembly in an indirect manner which would control the ministers and the king and the system of administration completely, although at this point the king held the veto power. With the executive and legislature, the judiciary was also elected by the active citizens of the state. The beginning of the constitution declared by the National Assembly is with a declaration of the rights of man and citizen. In the rights were included rights like right to life, right to speech, freedom of opinion, equality before the laws, which gave people a status of equality and power in their own hands. In this picture given, which was painted by the artist La Barbière in the year 1790, some symbols were shown which were depicting the freedom, the new gained freedom of the people. In the picture, if we go one by one, let's point out the symbols which read or which say a lot about the new feeling in the people. The first is, as you can see on the left hand side of the picture, that there's a lady holding a broken chain in her hands. This broken chain was the symbol of the slavery, the foundations that they've been going through. The second symbol here in between this tablet, you can see that there is an arrow which is joined by a bundle of rods, and this bundle of rods shows the unity of the people, the power, the strength in unity. The next one is the eye, which is at the top of this picture. It's a little faded, but I'm sure we can figure it out, that there is a triangle which is glowing and which has an eye drawn in between of it. This triangle with the eye stands for the newly attained knowledge and the light which will draw all the darkness from the lives of the people. The next symbol is the scepter, which the lady in the right is holding in her hand. This scepter is the symbol of the royal power. The next one is the snake, which is biting its tail and forming a ring. We can see it at the top of the tablet. This shows that it is a circle. It is a symbol of eternity, a never-ending process, and the bad times always go away, giving way to the brighter, the new, the fairer times. The next symbol is the symbol of this cap, which you can see at the top of this arrow. It is actually red in color, and this red colored cap was the symbol of the slaves. The slaves used to wear these caps, and placing this cap at the top of this arrow shows that it is now removed and the people are now free from this foundation of slavery. The next one, this lady in the left, she is actually wearing a red colored blouse and a blue colored skirt with white sleeves. These three colors, red, blue and white, these three colors are the colors of the national flag of France. And this lady on the right side, the lady with the wings, she can be related with like the Statue of Liberty that we see in the USA, as the Statue of Liberty is a symbol of their law and their identification. In the same manner, this winged woman is the personification of the new formed law and the fairness of the law for the people of France. And the last symbol, the tablet on which all the laws were written. These tablets show that the law that is now to be imparted on the people will be equal for everyone.